Thank you very much for sitting down with me today. It's become tradition to kick off the episodes now with a 25-second life summary challenge. Basically, would like you to describe your journey from birth to where you are now in 25 seconds. You happy to do that?
I can try.
Right, I've got a timer here, and whenever you're ready.
Okay, cool. So I'm Urenna. I was born in Lagos, Nigeria. Moved to London when I was 14. Been living here for about 12 years. Went to university, studied economics and finance, and worked in finance for about 4 years before I started my own company, Cashmere.
Great. Still got a few seconds left to go.
Oh God, I don't know what I was going to say.
No, I like that. The more concise, the better. The more concise, the better. That was good.
Okay.
Well, I guess to start off with, obviously, you just summed up some incredible stuff straight away within that. Not to ask a cliche question, but why did you start Cashmere?
I guess I started Cashmere because it was solving a personal need for me. So I came up with the idea a couple of years ago. So I was in Harrods with my friends, and I saw this pair of shoes. I just instantly fell in love with. Everything was perfect until I saw the price tag, and I was like, oh shit, it's quite expensive.
Yeah.
And it was £600, and I just felt so weird spending £600 on a pair of shoes that I didn't budget for, plan for, or anything. So I ended up buying the shoes, and then that evening I was thinking to myself that if I had a special stash of cash, so money I was sort of micro saving away, putting bit by bit in order to treat myself in the future, then I wouldn't have felt guilty, because the problem wasn't that I didn't have the money, it was more that I just didn't want to spend money in my savings account on shoes.
On shoes straight away.
Yeah. So and that's how the idea was born.
What's your earliest memory of sort of being interested in fashion or that type of product in the first place?
So I remember being a teenager and just loving Gossip Girl and Sex and the City, and I love looking at Vogue magazines and just knowing that I can never afford any of these things in here. So that was kind of my earliest memory of fashion, luxury fashion.
Luxury fashion itself.
But I've always kind of been into fashion. Even at university, I was the president of Fashion Society.
Awesome.
So I was organizing fashion shows, launched a fashion magazine, worked with those different brands. So it was kind of something that was just very natural to me, and I loved dressing up. So it was.
You sort of fit in quite well with each other. Yeah,
exactly.
And as far as the journey from university to actually setting the app up is concerned, obviously I'm assuming you worked during that period of time. And how did it transition from a 9 to 5 or longer than 9 to 5 to actually setting up the app in the first place?
So I launched Cashmere in February this year, but so while I was still working, so I was working in finance.
Okay.
So I was kind of doing the whole full-time job, side hustle type of thing for about a couple of years. So from the idea stage, so obviously when it was still an idea and working on the MVP and everything, I was still working in my full-time job, and it was so difficult. It's I'm not even gonna sugarcoat it. It's really difficult, especially when you're working in finance, where it's the hours can be a bit mad. I had exams, it was it's a bit crazy, but I guess it got to a point where it was just really difficult to juggle both. I had to turn down so many opportunities for Cashmere just because I had work. A lot of times when I was at work, if I took time off, let's say a week off or holiday.
Of course.
It's people are oh, where are you off to? I'm I'm not off to anywhere, I'm just staying at home to do work.
It was did you put in when you were booking time off in your sort of holiday request?
I didn't really put anything, I just left it blank. But so it just got to a point where it was so difficult to do both. So I was you know what, this is something I really believe in. I'm just gonna go for it and see how it goes.
As far as the balancing between your 9 to 5 and a business is concerned, what advice can you give to people? Because it's something I'm kind of doing at the moment with a few projects I've got going on outside of work. What advice can you give to someone from sort of balancing to a business / side hustle and a 9 to 5?
I'd probably say a lot of planning in advance is so key. And you're going to have to sacrifice a lot, because I know when I was doing that, I was waking up early in the morning to do work on Cashmere. During my lunch breaks, I was working on Cashmere. After work, I was working on Cashmere. Weekends, literally any free time I could get. And sometimes when I tell people that, they're that you actually really have to sacrifice a lot. They're oh, no, they don't understand it until they actually experience it. So I would definitely say, first of all, being very willing to sacrifice. You're going to have to turn down parties and friends and all of that stuff. But planning ahead. So I use my phone calendar a lot. So with everything, if I need to, let's say, come back from work, I put from 8 to 10, this is what I'm going to be doing on my calendar, and sort of it's a lot. You work a lot better that way.
Yeah.
You're a lot more productive.
Time management's kind of crucial then.
So crucial. Yeah.
Absolutely. And as far as the business as it stands today, I mean, what would you sort of best describe Cashmere as if someone asked you, what is it and how does it work? How would you sort of sum it up in a concise
my elevator
way?
pitch.
Yeah, the elevator pitch. Pitch me.
Okay, so Cashmere is a smart savings platform that helps women and girls save for and buy luxury fashion guilt-free and without them having to dip into their personal savings. So it works by allowing them to start saving from £50 a month, and which goes into their Cashmere wallet, and once they've saved up enough money for whatever, like their favorite Gucci handbag, then they can buy the items directly on Cashmere. So we've got like affiliate partnerships with luxury retailers like Harvey Nichols, Liberty, and Saks Fifth Avenue, and so on.
Yeah. And how do you start establishing those partnerships? Because you've just gone and listed some incredible brands right there.
Yeah.
How do you go about establishing those partnerships with them?
This is a very popular question.
Yeah, I can imagine so. You just threw out some big brands right there. I was like, whoa, slow down there.
So basically, some of these luxury brands, they do have affiliates programs that they run, which they don't advertise it for obvious reasons, because they don't want people to know that they do these things. But basically, it's like a thing where you have to apply to get access to their API, so you have access to all of their stock and literally everything. And when you get access to that, you can list that on your website or your app or whatever. And then if someone buys an item using from you, then you get a commission from that. So that's one of the ways we make money from Cashmere at the moment.
Awesome. And are there any other monetization strategies that you're currently looking at, or any other ways it's going to be monetized moving forward? Yeah.
So one of the things we're currently testing is we're looking to launch a premium subscription next year.
Awesome.
So what that means is if a user decides to become a VIP member, they will get access to. So at the moment, we're currently working on gain partnerships with different what I call affinity brands. So that like stuff like trendy bars, restaurants, cafes, beauty spas, so that if you're a premium member you get access to like discounts at all of these places.
Awesome.
I basically looked at like the Google Analytics of who my typical users are and try to see the stuff that they were interested in.
Absolutely.
So I was like, oh cool, these people are interested in this, and they're interested in theatre, and they're interested in beauty, fashion, like, so why don't I try and help them manage their money when it comes to all of that stuff. So the idea is really to try and like help them cut down on expenses they normally have anyway, so that they can like put more money into Cashmere.
Absolutely.
That's
like
really
an evil plan to try and bring all the way back to Cashmere.
Oh, this is definitely not altruistic in any way.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And so the app isn't launched quite yet. It sort of functions as a website predominantly, right?
So it's predominantly web based because number one, when I came up with the idea and I was speaking to like app developers, the money they was quoting, I was like, I haven't got that kind of money right now. It was like so expensive, and it didn't really make sense for me to invest that. So I mean, number one, I didn't have the money, but even if I did, it didn't make sense to invest 50 grand into an app that I wasn't sure was going to work. So I always tell like founders, especially, I find the cheapest way for you to test your idea, and then if it does work and if it's actually something people need, then you can like build it to be something else. So
walk before you can run.
Exactly. So like I've seen people like build apps, launch it, and it's like so I was like, I'm just gonna do it as a website, and having it as a website isn't really bad, to be honest, because then like I didn't really have to make a decision of like, oh, should I do iOS or Android or whatever. Like it's just like anyone can just sign up and just
use it straight away. And the plan is obviously to launch the app moving forward.
It's sort of like on our pipeline for like next year once we've secured our fundraise. I'm currently fundraising at the moment,
getting investment into the idea. And what key things would you say are crucial for a successful app? Because there's so many apps on my phone right now, half of which I don't need, which I'm probably going to delete at some point. But what really keeps users on the app and what makes it successful?
So I would probably say if I look at the apps I really, really engage with, so it's probably like Instagram, Twitter. And the reason why we go on Instagram and Twitter is because we don't know what to expect when we go on it. Because it's like, every time you go to something new, and that's the thing. And I think the key to having a successful app or whatever website is just constantly having that, like, your users don't know what to expect, because once it becomes repetitive, once it's like the same thing over and over again, there's like, I've seen it all, so there's nothing to keep you going back. I definitely think that's like the key thing. I think also engaging with the users a lot is so key. So whether it's to like push notifications or like emails or whatever, like speaking to your users, especially obviously like Twitter and stuff, you don't need to like speak to your users. But I mean, at the very, very early stages, like you don't understand how, like, sometimes I speak to founders and they don't even know who their users are. Like, I know pretty much every single user of Cashmere.
Wow.
Because like I'm so obsessed with them. Like I stalk them. That sort of thing. And it's like, I think it's so important because like, first of all, you start to build this relationship with them. And like, you know, if they were having any problems or if you wanted any feedback from them, like honest feedback, there's that, you know, mutual respect, and like, you know, you guys could actually want to help each other. So I think it's so important. Like, I'm literally every week I'm like speaking to users. Like,
awesome.
It's so important.
And that sort of leads on to something I read about the business regarding trying to establish a community and almost a social platform, and that's something you sort of mentioned you're going to be trying to establish a lot more moving forward. And why did you choose to adopt that sort of route moving forward for the business?
Because I think community is so important. I think like a lot of, especially when you're digital, sometimes people forget that like it's human beings at the other side, and people engage a lot more with things that they enjoy feeling a part of. So I'll give an example. For example, like Monzo. Like Monzo built an amazing community way before they launched. Had a banking license, and the minute they launched, like everyone was just scrambling to, you know, get a Monzo account, and there was that golden ticket that kept flying around, and everyone was like, that sort of obsession is what you need in order to have a successful business. And I think people, I think like sometimes we tend to underestimate the power of community. So for Cashmere, like even though it's a digital platform, that I want to do stuff that's like offline also, because I found that those have really worked for us. So I've done a few offline stuff in terms of like events that we've hosted or like pop-ups that we've done. We've done pop-ups in Shoreditch and also in White City actually. And then we found that like that's been pretty good for us. Like even when we look at our conversion rates, we found that like 40% of our users come from word of mouth, so like friends telling their friends about Cashmere, which is like so good because first of all that's free marketing, absolutely, and second of all it sort of like helps build that community aspect of it. So
100%. I think a lot of platforms I've heard of are definitely doing that. Facebook seems like it's focusing heavily on groups. Instagram have been talking about them building out the messages to be more community based as well, so it seems like a really popular trend to adopt moving forward. But as far as the future is concerned, what do you sort of envision Cashmere as?
So the future, oh God. I think for me, my big dream or vision for Cashmere is for it to be like the go-to platform for like millennials to help them save for luxurious experiences. So not just fashion, but like luxury travel and luxury technology. Like if you wanted, let's say you wanted to like, you're on Instagram all the time and you're seeing people going to all these amazing places like Bali, you're like, oh, I really want to do that. It's like, well, you can. You just save up for it. And it's like, it makes it a bit more like, because my real thing is I just want people to indulge in luxurious experiences, but then also be financially savvy about it.
Strike that fine balance. Absolutely.
And the thing is, like, I really like, I genuinely don't believe that luxury should be like reserved for just the elites. I think like luxury should be democratized. I don't care what anyone says about like, oh yeah, you know, if everyone has it, then it doesn't. No, like because at the end of the day, like the price is still high. Like it's not like I can just decide to like go to Bali anytime I want. There's still that, you know, massive barrier anyway, so it's still luxury regardless of whether like, you know,
everyone uses it or not.
Exactly. So so that's kind of like my big vision
moving forward. And are there any sort of, everyone's talking about AR, AI, VR, and all the other acronyms, but is there any sort of plan to utilize any of those sort of tools moving forward?
So at the moment we're actually experimenting with some AI, so like artificial intelligence. So we're actually relaunching Cashmere in January. So my CTO is currently rebuilding everything from scratch. So what it currently is not what it's going to look like in January. But she comes from an AI background, so hopefully she'll be fine. But anyway, so what we're trying to do is make it a bit more like personalized. So like at the moment when you go on Cashmere website, you just like see loads of different items on there, which decide whatever you want. But what we want to do is that make it so that like the items you get recommended are things that are based on your own personal taste. So obviously it takes time because the machine has to learn what your habits what your habits are, what your personal tastes are like, and things like that. So that's something we're also experimenting. And then also once we've sort of like another thing we're trying to build is a digital personal finance assistant, so that like when you sign up to Cashmere and you link your bank account to Cashmere, you'll be able to like monitor your day-to-day spending, so that like if for example you were spending too much money on Uber, you're like, Topsy, gonna need to cut down on that.
Wow,
If you want to fund this Gucci bag that you've been looking at for 5 years.
It's like a robot saying, no, don't do this.
Yeah, exactly. So that's kind of the things that we're working on and hoping to launch, or planning to launch
forward.
Next year. Yeah.
And I guess just to sort of finish on social media, how can you not talk about social media? I was on your Instagram the other day, and it's almost like aesthetically pleasing just going down it. So I guess some gems basically on businesses who are trying to adopt a really successful social media strategy. What do you think is like crucial for that?
Oh man,
there's loads, I know, of course, yeah.
Social media is a bit of a mad one because things are always changing, especially with Instagram and the algorithm and blah blah. Yeah. But I guess the things I've heard from people, like things I'm trying to adopt myself, is as you said, like first of all, having like a clear aesthetic so that people would know that even if they don't have to look on your Instagram grid, if they saw a picture, they would know that's your picture because it's so like your brand is so clear to them. Like one of the brands that I really like, so you know WAH Nails.
I feel like I have heard of them.
So it's a nail salon based in Soho.
WAH.
Yeah. So I really like their imagery. Like it's so like it's so cool and it's like very vibrant. The colors are just amazing. And every time I see a picture, like I know it's WAH Nails. And then even if it's not, WAH Nails is still the first thing that comes to my head. So I'm like, that's great branding right there. And then so that's number one. Number two is like being consistent, even though it's hard. Like I struggle to be consistent on Instagram, like consistently posting. So like because if you have like a business account on Instagram, it tells you when your followers are like more active. So basically posting during those times, and not just posting consistently but also engaging with your followers, like so when people comment, like respond to their comments, like you know, and just like commenting on other people's stuff and just sort of like building that like again community aspect of things. So I probably say those are like the top 3 things I would recommend. I mean, there's all these other weird stuff that people do, but like
stick to the basics and fundamentals.
Just be natural and be authentic, and it will just come. Don't buy followers.
Awesome. And last question: is there going to be a service directed towards guys, would you say, moving forward? I've got to ask it for the man.
You know what? When I initially came up with Cashmere, it was meant to be a like male and female, like unisex platform. But when I was speaking to like guy friends, like no one really cared about it. Like, but then now that I've launched it, everyone's like, "Oh, when's there gonna be a men's version?" So who knows?
They don't know what's good for them.
Who knows? I think I probably will launch a men's version. I don't know when, and also I'll probably need a man who is well versed in men's fashion, because I know nothing about men's fashion, to kind of lead that all of that, because I just wouldn't know what to do with that. But yeah, it's definitely something that is worth exploring.
Cool. Well, watch your space, guys. Watch your space. Right. So we have 10 quick fire round questions to ask you. Just need the first thing that comes to your mind to be the answer. Okay. Are you ready?
Yeah, ready.
Right. Number one book that's had the biggest impact on your life.
Hooked.
One person. Oh, sorry. By who?
His name's Nia Eyal.
Nia Eyal.
Yeah.
Hooked. Cool. Yeah. One person that's had the biggest impact on your life.
Beyonce.
I love that answer so much. What's the best professional advice you've ever been given?
Be obsessed with the problem you're trying to solve.
I like that. What's the first thing you do when you wake up in the morning?
Check Twitter.
What's the last thing you do when you go to bed at night?
Check Twitter. No, I'm joking. It's probably like watching Netflix.
Watch show. Netflix. Cool. If you could choose one fashion brand to have your own fashion line with, who would it be?
Oh God, probably Balmain.
Balmain?
Yeah.
They do great stuff, actually.
Yeah.
Biggest fashion pet peeve?
Oh my God, I don't know. When people like wear too many brands, like that I just find it a bit ridiculous. Like, don't do that.
Too many brands.
Yeah.
Your favorite fashion accessory?
Favorite fashion accessory? Oh God, probably a nice watch.
Nice watch.
Yeah.
Anyone in particular?
Ooh.
Or brands in particular?
I'm gonna plug my friend's brand because it's amazing. It's called Vitae London.
Vitae London.
Yeah, it's nice. Like a watch brand, and he donates profits to like charity in South Africa.
That's a good plug. That's a good plug. Favorite season for fashion?
Oh, summer.
Summer for sure. Yeah. And last one, dead or alive, favorite fashion icon?
Rihanna.
Rihanna.
Yeah, hands down.
Fair enough.